Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're switching gears just a little bit, and we're talking about advocacy for children. Caitlin Wolff is our guest this morning, and she is the volunteer coordinator for the Children's Advocacy Network. We welcome her to the OPT Network. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. First of all, let's talk about Children's Advocacy Network and what it is.
Yes, ma'am. So our Advocacy Network is a program, and we have a CAC, and that's kind of some forensics, some investigation, and then we have a therapy program for children who have experienced trauma, and then we have the CASA program. And the CASA program is when a child comes into foster care, they're appointed an advocate, and their advocate is kind of their person. That is the consistent person who kind of follows them, whether they change houses or schools or caseworker. It's their one person that they have. And so that person kind of advocates for them to have a safe and permanent home, to make sure they're loved and cared for, and so they have that. So that's what the CASA program is. And so we're just an umbrella agency that we try to just hit it all and make sure that these children who need things, that all their needs are met.
And so after COVID happened, we saw everything change.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we know that there are about almost 100 kids in the system that need an advocate. Did it have to do with COVID and people not volunteering or not getting out?
Yes, ma'am. So, of course, with the shutdown, everything went virtual. And so that just made things a little bit difficult. We had people who were a little bit kind of afraid to get out. But then also, when these children started coming back, so people who make reports most often for abuse or neglect are your teachers. So when these kids came back to school after being out for so long, we had some more children come into care. So now
we have more children come into care.
So we have a lot of children in care. I believe we have close to 400 children in care, and like you said.
So when you say they're in care, does that mean that they're in the foster system?
They're in the foster system. Wow. So and 97 of those do not have advocates. So they're missing that person that kind of helps look after their well-being and make sure that they have that safe and loving environment for them. So COVID definitely. It made it a little bit more difficult for that.
So for people who are listening and watching this conversation, you really want to pull at people's heartstrings to become an advocate for a child. What does that entail? Absolutely.
So what an advocate does is they are kind of the eyes and the ears for the court system. The judge hears these cases, normally about every 6 months. But these advocates, they see these children face-to-face once a month. So they see these children, they get to kind of learn about them, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what are their needs. And so they become that person for them. So in order to become an advocate, we do training. Sometimes we do it virtual, and sometimes we will do it in person. So there's kind of something for everybody, no matter your schedule. And then once you're trained, you will get assigned to a specific child. And you will be their person. You will go visit their home. You can go visit them at school. You can talk to their counselors and their social workers. And you can just see what their needs are and how can we help them get to that safety and that permanency. Whether that means helping, DCFS helps their parents. So it helps them, why did they come into care and how can we fix that? So whether we're looking for them to be reunified with their parents, or whether we're looking for a safe home that may be adoption or a family member. So the CASA person kind of looks at all of that, and then we report back to the court and kind of help the judge make the best decision for that child's well-being.
So does each child have one advocate per child?
Yes and no. So an advocate can be on a specific case. So if there's multiple siblings, then all of those siblings could have one advocate.
Okay.
And sometimes if the advocate only wants one child, or when they're first starting out, they can just have one. But most of the time, if there's a sibling group, then that advocate will advocate for all of the siblings.
And so one of the things that you talked about is how you came to work for CASA, how you became part of the system, and you said you fell in love with it. What did you fall in love with?
I fell in love with being that child's person. I didn't realize how much change these children have in such a short period of time. So if they come into care, they may change schools, they change homes, they get a new caseworker, they get these foster parents. Well, then sometimes those things don't work out for whatever reason, and they may move again. Right. They may get another caseworker, a different school, a different set of parents. So being an advocate meant that I could be that one person. I could be that constant person when I came to see them, they knew Miss Caitlin's there, and if I need somebody, even if she can't do it, she's going to advocate for that. And so I fell in love with that. I fell in love being that change for them and knowing that I could make that difference for those children.
So what's the time commitment for the training, and who best would be good for the job of advocacy in your view?
Anybody who just really loves children, who is passionate about making a difference, because you really do. You make a difference for these children. You can see it when they start recognizing you, and because you're going to their home. So at first they may be a little bit more standoffish, but as you build that relationship and they understand that you're there for them. So anybody who just wants to make that difference, and even if they can't volunteer, Children's Advocacy Network, we do a lot with the community. So if they can't become an advocate, but they want to make a difference, they can always reach out to us. And normally what we do with training is we do it 2 nights a week, normally for about 4 weeks.
Okay.
So it's normally about 3 hours each night. And then after that, that's the bulk of it. After that, your time commitment is normally just a couple hours a month. You have to go see the child once a month, and those visits are normally about an hour or so. And then you keep in contact with the different foster parents and caseworkers and things like that.
So you're just keeping a track on what's going on with their case and what's going on with them.
Right. Yes, ma'am. So you are talking to the caseworker, like, are there any updates? You're visiting that child, and what do they want? What do they need? Are they happy where they're at? Do they have a bed? Do they have, clothes that fit them? Or do they feel loved? Are they able to see their counselors? Are they able to kind of work through some of that trauma? And if they're not, then we can advocate. Hey, this child, I really think this child needs counseling. Do you think they can get an evaluation? And so sometimes things slip through the cracks. And so that's why that advocate is there, to really just make sure that they can get that safety and that permanency and that they feel loved.
And so right now we've got probably almost 100 kids who need advocates. So I want you to look into the camera, Caitlin, and tell people how they can connect if they want to become an advocate for a child or a group of children who have been separated from their parents.
Yes. So if you would like to become an advocate, or if you'd like to help in any way, there's nothing too small to make a difference. You can go to our website at childrensadvocacy.net. All of our information there, how to become an advocate, just more about our programs and what we do. So childrensadvocacy.net.
There you go. And is there a background check?
Yes, there's a background check. We do all of that for you. So when you come in, if you want to be an advocate after you fill out the paperwork online, you'll come in and you'll do an interview. And that's just for us to kind of let you know like what is expected, and you can let us know about you, why you want to do this. And then we'll give you all of the paperwork. You fill it out, you bring it back to us, and we do all of that work. So there's no cost. You don't have to, go pay for this. We take care of all of that. You just have to come and fill out the paperwork.
All right. So all we need is for people who have a heart for children, a heart for the communities that CASA is serving, to be the change that they want to see. Give them a call and reach out and find out how you can do that. Caitlin, thank you guys so much for the work that you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having us.
Indeed. Hey, everybody, stay on point. We're back right after this.